I'm going to be sharing a book review on a Disney Twisted Tale, which is Adventure is Out There. This is the Disney Twisted Tale of the Disney Pixar movie Up. I will be 100% honest, I was fully expecting to cry through this because I cannot watch the Disney Pixar movie Up without crying, and I actually don't like that movie. I'm sorry to anyone who does like it. We all have our own movie preferences. If you want to go ahead and read this here a little bit slower if you need to, please feel free to go ahead and pause. So I'm just going to go ahead and share a book review, my ratings, and if I'd recommend the book or not. So I want to start off by saying that I absolutely love the Disney Twisted Tale books. I think they're such a fun little book series to read. I have read quite a few of these, and I really, really like them. So, yeah. Now, I'm going to be 100% honest. This book was not at all what I was expecting it to be. So much so that I only gave it 3 stars. I really wanted to give it 5 because, like I said, I love the Disney Twisted Tale books, but this book unfortunately only got a 3 out of 5 star rating for me. And the reason why is this book was not at all what the movie is. This book actually felt more of like a standalone book about like the backstory to Ellie from Up. Like there was, when I say that there was very few references to the movie Up in this book, I'm not even joking. There was no Kevin, there was no Doug, there was no like the Boy Scout that comes to help Carl. There was none of that. There was no flying house with the balloons. There was none of that. And there was a little bit of Ellie and Carl like being friends. Like you got to see a little bit of their backstory, but there really even wasn't that much of that. And I was actually really, really shocked because most of the time, these twisted tales, they do remain true to the actual story that they're inspired by, but they just have a twist. This, I'm telling you, it was not the movie Up, and I was actually really, really shocked by that. Like I said, I would consider this more of like a standalone book if you're wanting to learn more about the character Ellie from Up rather than the movie Up. And that just, it really, really shocked me. The first half of the book was the backstory to Ellie herself. Like you got to learn about her interest in taking care of animals and how she got an internship at a zoo and how she got to start taking care of this one little bird that is not Kevin, by the way. It's another bird named Soda Pop. And you got to learn all of that stuff. And that was actually pretty interesting. However, once you got to halfway of the book, that's when I felt that this really started to go down because basically first half of the book was the backstory to Ellie. You learned all about her interests, like I said. The second part of the book was titled Up, and she ends up basically stealing one of the zoo like official planes because she wants to rescue this bird that is going to die if it does not go back to its original like environment. So she flies to this place to save this bird's life. And this whole thing ends up being crazy. I did not like this because in the second half of the book, there is also a couple of, I'm just going to say it this way, there were some references that did not need to be in the book. That, in my opinion, was ridiculous. I'm not going to say what they are, but it was ridiculous. And it just did not feel like it needed to be said. But just the characters that were presented in the second half of the book, it just was not equivalent to Up. The characters in the first half of the book, again, not equivalent to Up, but it was interesting because you got to learn about Ellie and things like that. And in all honesty, that's why I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. If you are like a diehard fan of this movie, you're going to be really disappointed, unfortunately, if you want to read this book. But if you want to read it because you just want to learn about Ellie more, then I would say go for it. There was not that much in the second half of the book that talks about Ellie and Carl's relationship at all until you get to like the very end of it. Like it's just a couple of sentences here and there, and that's about it, which I thought that was just, I'll say it this way. I thought that there needed to be a little bit more talk about Carl and Ellie's relationship because of what the movie Up was like. But yeah, would I recommend this? I'm going to give it a very strong maybe. It just depends. If you like reading the Disney Twisted Tales and you just want to you want to read like all the books in the series, kind of what I'm doing, I would say yes. If you are reading it because you love the Disney Pixar movie Up, you're probably going to be really disappointed or really annoyed about how there's not like the traditional characters in this, not many references to Up. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, am I happy that I read it? Yes, because like I said, I love the Disney Twisted Tales. Would I reread this book? No, I would not. But that's just my personal opinion. Everyone's personal opinion is going to be completely different on a book. Someone may read this and absolutely love it, and that's totally okay. So, overall, I'm giving this, unfortunately, a 3 out of 5 star rating. I did want this to be higher, but it was not, and those are my reasons for why. And yeah, so I hope that this video was enjoyable, and that is it for this book review.